Peasant Productions presents The Math of ESP, Why It Works Even If You Don't Believe in It. I've been putting out my videos about this stuff. Nobody has presented any kind of scientific data against it. However, I have had a few trolls, and I'm getting trolled on other stuff, and I have had family members act as trolls, and I kind of want to point out why you have this extreme issue, okay? Now, as I have consistently pointed out, this book, the Bible, the Muslim religion, and the Jewish religion, which although the Jews can go back a ways, they cannot prove anything they have ever said. One of my trolls just got up there and he literally is telling me to go look at photographs that, as a person who has been working with photography for 56 years, been professional for 45 years, has been using Photoshop since '94, which means 24 years just of that one program. I'm used to using it, seeing it, working it. I was a photo editor of 6 newspapers for 9 years, which means every week I was looking at 1,000 or 2,000 photographs, and I had to see what was real or fake. And that was back in the film days, except that I was also involved in actually transferring that company, publishing company, into the digital world, okay? I'm the one that, that bet the boss that if I put, a couple programs on a little toy computer, it would change what happened. And in 2 months, yes, he was absolutely blown away, and he invested $100 and some thousand to start using digital systems. Yeah. When you stop and look at facts spoken by a little old stupid Peter here, you generally turn your whole butt around, okay? You don't keep arguing that being stupid is important, okay? What's the famous line out here? The meek shall inherit the earth. Yes, you inherit graves, you inherit a polluted planet, yes. But, if the Romans built the Jewish religion into something, because the Roman Empire was in its infancy when the theoretical Jews did this magical crossing of taking half the population out of Egypt, and no other country in the entire Mediterranean area has anything in its historical facts about an absolute, complete social collapse of what was then the mightiest nation in the Mediterranean area. You can't find it. It doesn't exist. There's no destroyed pyramids. There's no destroyed, effigies of the pharaohs being gods, which would have been the first thing that happened if you took all of the slave labor out and you left all of the elite rich to the super elite rich having to wash their floors and clean their toilets out for themselves, cook their own food, all the basic necessities that they would have 2 to 3 slaves per person doing for them. Think about it. The average elite person has several servants / slaves, depending on what society you want to go to, per person. So if Moses took all the slaves out of Egypt, and Egypt is reported that scientific data shows that there was 5 to 6 million, which means Moses walked off with 2 to 3 million people. Okay? There's absolutely no evidence of it. I would have to go research it. I don't like this book enough to really read it. But apparently in this book here, it says that, in the Old Testament, it says that, 2 months, 3 months after Moses took all these totally dead broke slaves that could only grab what they could grab and start walking across, crossing hundreds and hundreds of miles of desert, there was something like a 60,000 fully armed, fully weaponized, fully trained military assault force to go out and then start raiding and plundering on their own. Okay? That is how illogical your whole story system is. Whether you're Muslim, you're Jew, you're Catholic, you're Buddhist, you know, all of this stuff. Buddha may have been a real teacher. Buddhism, what does it do? It teaches you to go sit in a corner, go sit in a dark room and meditate, and don't worry, because if you put out wonderful vibes, the world will just change itself. No. The Dalai Lama has been out of his country for 58 years, 60 years, something. I guess 60 years, because I was born in 58, and I believe 57 or 58 was when the last Dalai Lama, you know, went into exile, which means the Dalai Lama that's alive right now has been walking around telling everybody, be peace, we're going to get our world back. And has not done anything with the millions of followers that he has. He's collected lots of money, he's run around, had lots of social events. You know, he's showed everybody how good he can smile. But he's done nothing for human suffering. He's done nothing for human rights. He's done nothing to show the equality that Buddhism teaches. Instead, he runs around saying, oh, the prince and princess of Thailand, they're more elevated by gods because they were born to royal blood. Yeah. What do your governments and such say? Oh, the royal British family are so wonderful. They're so much above everybody else. Really? They're a human being, nothing more. They use most likely tricks and thievery and lies and cheating to become royals. And they definitely killed to get to that position. So, this is the fallacy that is at least 3,000 to 4,000 years old. And it's called divide and conquer. Every time you throw something out there to argue you have, you know, somebody running off to argue this, okay? And this goes all the way up into the United States, where when the peace movement came around, okay, and there's credible evidence of the fact that the FBI and the CIA together, as a team, started playing good cop, bad cop, even more so than they were when the CIA was created back in the 1940s. Okay, the CIA is obviously criminals in action, and they are responsible for most of the government overthrows around this, especially democratically elected governments. Okay, in almost every case you will find that a dictatorship is put in power after the CIA sends in its little groupies to overthrow systems. Okay, so like I said, you know, you got all of this. You have absolutely nothing that you can say good about, you know, what I'm showing here. This is an absolute given. There is no way that anybody can disprove that viruses and bacteria travel by these methods. Okay, you have no way of proving that this is not real, this is not going on, this is not happening. And because you have never tried any of this stuff, you cannot prove that any of this will not work. And like I said, the simple fact that it is now obvious that carbon fiber, which is made by a highly classifiable plastic by the petroleum industry, is actually makeable by garbage plastic and waste plastic and literally the trash you've been throwing all over the planet, and you can go around, collect it up, and turn it into carbon fiber. Yeah, okay, so you had that whole illusion by the oil companies, okay, which is back here where, you know, they're all about profit, denying this, putting out all kinds of stuff this way. And yes, like I said, go look at all of your movies and stuff, and they went from the 1960s of space exploration being wow to space exploration being dangerous, space exploration being full of alien monsters that are going to eat you up, and all of that. And you also have the CIA and the FBI feverishly working to create conspiracy theories to keep everybody running around going, oh, he's a conspiracy. Oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Oh. Okay? So like I said, one of these trolls, I mean, he was throwing up stuff that obviously was fake. Very, very obviously. And the guy literally in these memos, and I have the emails, so even if he goes back and deletes all this stuff, I've still got all of the emails that told me that this guy sat there and said, I have never studied the Bible, I have never gone to school, I have never studied history, I don't study anything, I just frickin' know. Yeah. Total denial of any kind of fact-checking whatsoever by the person saying he's smarter. Donald Trump. Oh, everything's fake news unless I want to believe in it. I'm the president. I can pardon myself of any crimes I commit. That is what you have for a president, because that is what you have been putting out as an absolute lunatic philosophy of how to run your lives, okay? So you have all this stuff going on, okay? I just had another guy sitting there, and I told him about this stuff, and the guy rants and raves about my starship. I have continuously stated to everybody everywhere, my starship is something that I was told about at 2 years of age. I have, at this point in time, I have been on it through vision quests and visions and stuff, but there is nothing that I have that is physically in front of me that proves to me my starship exists. Therefore, it is still, it's my ship and it's over there, and I'm not going to tell you squat about it because it's my ship. It was supposed to be for me and me alone, and the packages, the cargo I had to carry, which would be life and genetic forms off of this, that would never interact with me. They would have nothing to do with me, okay? Occupy ISS, International Space Station, is about getting you people up into your near space orbit around your planet in some kind of living environment where you can begin to clean and process the whole thing. This guy rants and raves about how I have to be stupid because I can't answer his question about how my starship's going to be built, when I keep telling him, dude, go read all of this stuff on my videos, okay, the 6,000 word blogs. I mean, I've got hundreds of hours of stuff out there for people to stop and look and research, and the guy rants and raves like a pathetic little child because I won't sit there and put a million word answer in his one little thing. And he is denying absolutely every frickin' thing in the book, okay? Now, straight out of this book, which I did not read until 1987, after I received the Revelations 2:17 mark from the Christ. I had to go and get one of these stupid little pathetic books of lies and study it. It took me 10 years to realize that Revelations 2:17 was a big, big mistake on the Roman government's writing it to create the Christian Catholic Church. Okay? It is a loophole that says only the Christ entity gives it. In conversation with the Christ entity, yes, it says churches. Therefore, there was no Christian or Catholic Church in the year 0 when this Jesus Christ was supposed to have walked the planet. Okay? But there were spiritual people all over this planet that called the whole planet their church. And there were numerous religions throughout the known world, okay, which is Europe and Africa and Asia at that point in time. There were numerous religions, and each one of those is also a church. So plural churches on Revelations 2:17 has to mean all of them. If you don't believe me, go talk to the Christ, because that's the only entity that gives it, and that is the absolute last straw of what the rule would be. So yeah, think about it, folks. Straight out of your book. There's only one way I can get that.